February the 7th, 2016. Can you take us back to that day?
I wanted so bad to do like a big gathering with my friends. I'm not a football fan, but everybody else was doing Super Bowl parties, and I was like, we need something for the teams. We need something to do too. So I begged my mom and my dad. I was like, can I please invite some people? Can I do it? Like, I'll cook, I'll clean the kitchen, I'll clean the house, everything. And my dad was like, go ask your mama. So I went and begged my mama, and she was like, go ask your daddy. So they had me going back and forth. And finally, I was like, okay, let me just go clean up, and then I'm going to ask again. Let me see if they work. So I cleaned up the whole house. I started cooking and everything. And I went and asked again, and they was like, sure, go ahead. So I was like, okay, cool. I invited everybody over, and we were playing, at the time, the Whisper Challenge was really popular, where you listen to the music and, you know, guess the other people's words or whatever. We were playing that, and we had music bumping loud, food aroma in the air, rotel, meatballs, smelling good. And one of my friends picked up a hunting rifle BB gun that sat on the top shelf in our den, and he picked it up and was playing with it and waving it around, and I didn't notice because I was in the midst of playing the game. But my older sister was there, and at the time she was pregnant with my niece, and she ran in and was like, oh my god, what is going on, give me that. So she did take it from him. She took the clip out, she laid it on the table, and took the clip with her, went back to the kitchen, stirring the food, watching over the food. And nobody thought anything of it. I mean, we're all pretty much adults. We're 16, 17, some 18. So when somebody tells you no, we know better. So she put it down, took the clip out, and for some reason, he picked it back up and started to wave it around, but this time he pulled the trigger. And for me, I don't think anybody even knew that it happened. It was so quick, so fast. I didn't even know that I was shot. So when he pulled it and he aimed it, I was the one that ended up getting shot. It was three of us sitting against the couch, and I was the one hit. I didn't know. And I guess you could say my body maybe went into shock, because all I can think was it felt like an eyelash in my eye. When an eyelash falls in your eye, it stings, it's sharp. So I took my head down, and everybody was still doing what they were doing. They were playing the Whisper Challenge, the music going loud, cooking meatballs, and I'm over here digging in my eye for what I'm thinking is an eyelash. And when I decided to look up, my best friend Kiana at the time looked at me, and all I can remember is her screaming, oh my god, you're bleeding, oh my god, you've been shot, look at your eye. And everything started to move in slow motion. The headphones came off, the music went off, everybody started getting up, teary eyes. My sister runs in from the kitchen screaming to the top of her lungs. TJ, who is actually the man who shot me, my friend, he grabs me, he picks me up, and him and my sister carry me to the kitchen, and there's blood dripping from my den to my kitchen, from my kitchen to my living room to the front of my house. Everybody is calling 911 at this point. There's like 5 or 6 different people on the phone reporting the call. My mom runs from the back of the house, from her room to the front. My sister is like hysterically crying, and there's like blood everywhere. And my sister's calling my dad like, oh my god, dad, you gotta get home, Bree's been shot. And it was crazy because later on, when I found out the call that was sent, or how it was expressed to the officers, was 15, 16-year-old girl shot, black girl shot in the head by male. And you know, the address was sent. And when we knew that the police were on the way, and specifically when I knew my dad was on my way, I was like, TJ, you have to go. because I know my dad. A lot of people may not, but I know who my dad is. I know he's good and I know he's bad. I know his history. I know my dad. So I'm like, you have to go because he's going to kill you. Like, you have to leave, like, right now. He's probably going to beat the police here, so you need to, like, dip. Go somewhere. Figure it out. So he went walking, and, you know, my mom and them told him, like, you got to go. We're going to figure it out, but you got to go right now because we ain't worried about the police. Her dad is on the way. You have to go. So he takes off walking down the street. My dad pulls up 2.5 seconds. Like, I mean, I know it don't take you any time to get anywhere in Memphis, but, like, he pulled up quick as if he was down the street, and we know he was not. And he did beat the police there. The ambulance had got there, but the police hadn't made it there yet. But my dad beat them there. By the time my dad got there, the ambulance were there, and they were flashing lights in my eye, and everything was bright and stinking, and it was a lot. When the police did get there, they pulled up with AKs, like, running into my house. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And, like, it was, like, traumatizing. Like, oh my God, having enough people been shot? Like, can we de-escalate before we run in with guns? You know, so, like, thankfully he was not there because there's no telling how that would have turned out, because they were ready. They were hostile, like, their energy was ready to be on alert, which, I mean, I'm sure that's what they're trying to do when there's a shooting on site. You better come prepared. But it was definitely scary. My dad was ready to go look for him with the police. We were honest with them. We told him he went walking. My dad was like, I'm finna go find him. And I'm hysterically crying, getting put into the ambulance, like, Dad, come with me, please don't go look for him, like, get in the ambulance with me, come with me. He's like, no, your mom's gonna go with you, your sister's gonna go with you. And I wanted him because I knew where his mom was, and none of that would have been good for either parties. So he did get into the ambulance and come with me. My mom followed. I remember getting in the hospital, and it was like a movie scene, like on Grey's Anatomy or something. Like, I would never imagined actually being in that scenario myself. Like, my clothes were being cut off of me. I was being IV'd all different kinds of ways, mask lifted up. It was almost as if I was paralyzed, although I wasn't. But I guess in that state of shock, I couldn't do anything. So clothes cut off, hair getting put up in buns and all types of stuff. It was like really crazy. So that was definitely the day I'll say a lot of things changed in my life. Yeah.
Are you and TJ still friends now?
We are. Fast forward that next day, I was in hospital for, I think, about a week before I was sent home. And you know, everybody started to visit. Everybody was at the Super Bowl party. All my friends, they came to start visiting me once I made it home. And TJ wanted so bad to visit. And although I know I had forgiven him the minute it happened, I wasn't ready to see him yet. I don't really know how to express what that feeling was, but I just wasn't prepared. I didn't want to look at him. I didn't want to be around him, but I didn't feel any ill intent, you know, with that feeling. It was just, I was not ready. But he kept calling to check on me, and he was texting and calling my mom and calling my sister. He knew not to call my dad, but he was calling everybody, calling all our friends, like, how is she, where is she, can I come see, and ask my mom, can I come see her, can I come visit her? I know a lot of my friends mutually were on a dance team called In Town Image, and our coach, Mr. Robert, he brought all of the dancers over to see me at home, and TJ was one of those people. And we were all kind of taken back when he walked into my door because we were not expecting him. My parents had already explained to him, we're not ready for that step yet. She's not ready for that step yet. And he didn't tell Mr. Robert that. So not knowing, he brought him into our home. And once again, he was really, really lucky. God was really on his side. My dad was not there. My dad was actually out getting snacks that I wanted when they were coming over. And, you know, all I could do was walk back in my room. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I'm not ready to hear the pleas and the I'm sorry and to see the guilty look on your face. I wasn't prepared for that. So I walked back into my room, and my mom was, you know, discussing with Mr. Robert. Like, we explained to him we weren't ready for that. We know you didn't know, and we do appreciate you for bringing everybody else, but he can't be here. So they sent him back to the car. I came back out, got to spend time with everybody else. But to a certain point, we had to at least have that discussion. And I think about a week from me being home was when his mom found out. So his mom didn't even know this had even occurred. His family didn't know until I was a week at home from recovery, released from the hospital. His mom calls mine and goes, I am so sorry. Like, I did not know this was going on. Can we sit down? Can I talk to you? Is there anything that can be done? So my mom and his mom and my dad, they talk on the phone, and we decided to do a mediation. Because although I had forgiven him, my family hadn't. That was definitely traumatic and like a life-changing experience to have gone through that. So they weren't ready to move on just yet. And I'm glad we did mediation, because I don't think if we would have sat down and had that talk without anybody else in the room, things may have went bad real fast. But we did do the mediation with my pastor, Charlie Caswell, who is now my godfather. And he explained to me that was what I did was called grace, not mercy. A lot of people tell me, oh, you had mercy on him, you know, forgave so quick. That was mercy. And it wasn't. It was grace, something a lot of people don't get to experience. And I'm glad that I was able to experience that and do that. But in my mind, a lot of people would ask me, why forgive him? Why not retaliate? Let your dad do what he wants to do. Let your uncles do what they want to do. Or why not send him to jail and press charges? And for me, what was that going to do? I was still going to be shot in the eye. I was still going to have went through that experience. The people who were there were still going to always be traumatized by that. There was nothing that could be done that could make that not happen or undo what had already been done. So getting revenge or retaliating, that's not in my character, and I didn't want to start then. You know, it wouldn't make me feel good to know that I put him in jail or that I let someone hurt him because I said, sure, you know. And what good would he do? You know, my people are like, well, your parents are hurt by this. You know, the people that were there, you don't want to do this for them. No, it's not about them. Although they were a part of that tragic experience with me, it wasn't about them. And there was a time for me to find myself spiritually and connect with who I want to be as a person and what my morals and my beliefs and values are. And I would feel extremely bad. Although my parents are hurt by what he did, I know for a fact that his parents or his family would be hurt if I had allowed them to take him to jail. She'd be just as heartbroken as mine are. Or if I had let my dad or my uncles go do something crazy, she'd be just as hurt as my family was. And nobody should feel that. So I did want to reciprocate that emotion onto them. And I think it was really good. The mediation went really well. We were all boohoo crying. And it was documented on the news as well. because it was actually a news story. The news showed up at my house. 15-year-old girl shot in the head in the Fraser community. It was a whole news story. So I felt that it was important that I share with the public how my story ended, rather than to let the news or the media narrate that for me. Because this didn't end in retaliation. It didn't end in violence on violence. It didn't end like that, and we don't get to see that often. We don't get to see, even, considering it was a mistake, even those that incidents like this with mistakes, we don't get to see that end result of a happy ending. And I think it was important that I did share that, and I think it did do a lot for the city in particular. And me and TJ's relationship, it's definitely still there. It will never be the same. I think he kind of feels like he forever has like a debt he needs to pay to me from that. And I do try to express to him, don't feel that, because I've forgiven you. He still does definitely feel that guilt. I see it all the time in him. But we're definitely working on that. Our relationship is going to be forever growing, forever trying to work on it and mending it. But after that mediation, that definitely progressed it a lot more and helped us move on a lot faster. After mediation, the one condition my dad made was that he needs to see you at church every Sunday, and that anything we need your support on, you need to be there. And he has done that. He's kept his word, and he's been there. So our relationship is still there. That's my big brother, and I love him.
Okay. So this happened in 2016. So we're going to fast forward to 2020. Mm-hmm. You just had your surgery and everything. Can you tell us how that day went for you? Were you nervous or anything going into the surgery? Or how was you feeling that day?
So I actually, when it happened, I was told that they were never going to take it out. Because of where it was, which it was right here in my eyebrow. The impact of it had created a dent. It dented my skull right there, and it made a pocket basically for itself to sit in, for the bullet or the pellet to sit in. So they were like, well, we don't think it's going to go anywhere because it's made a pocket. But it's a lot of veins there, and we don't want to touch that, basically. And I did suffer some vision loss. I lost 50% of my peripheral vision in my left eye after that, and I had kind of came to the conclusion that I was never going to get it taken out, and that it was just going to always be there. But in 2019, I had to have an x-ray. They wanted to do an MRI on my shoulder for something, and they couldn't. I told them I can't do an MRI because for those of you who don't know, an MRI attracts metal. So if I were to do that, it would literally snatch it out of my eye if I were to do an MRI. So I was explaining to the doctors, oh no, I can't do that. And I was telling them I have a metal pellet, a fragment, a bullet in my eye, and they were like, "You're serious?" It's like, yeah. It's like, let's do a CAT scan. Let's see where it is. So, and I was curious too. I hadn't seen it in years, so I was like, sure, let's do it. So we did the CAT scan, and we found it, and it wasn't where it originally was, which concerned me because I was told that it wouldn't move. And it had moved over into my sinus cavity. And that was in the summer of 2019 when I saw that. So I was like, okay, I should start looking. I gotta find somebody has to do something or tell me what can be done so that we could figure it out. So in 2019, I started to look for a doctor to see if anybody would be willing to remove it or, help me figure out what to do with it or where it might be going or traveling. And in, I'll say, October of 2019, I went to the Hamilton Eye Institution, which is here in downtown Memphis. And I found a doctor, and we did scans, and she was telling me that it may be possible to remove it and things like that. And we did another scan, and it had moved again into the orbit of my eye. And she was like, let's come back in a couple months. I'm gonna see what I can find, see if there's something we can do about it. She called me back in November did another scan, and it was then in the muscle tissue of my eye, which is the muscle that helps your eye move around. And because it was metal, and from the original impact, the bullet dented, so it was a little flat and sharp, so it had begun to scrape and tear the muscle in my eye. And she was like, I can get it. She was sure I can get it. I can remove it. Of course, there are risks involved with any surgery, bleeding, hemorrhage, all those things. And maybe even because of where yours is, double vision. Because what happened, that bullet had been there for so long that muscle tissue got used to functioning with that there. And when you remove it, it's flat, so it has to take time to build back up its muscle to fill that now missing space, which could possibly give me double vision, maybe permanent or maybe short term. She couldn't be positive, nobody could. So she sent me home, told me, I'm going to bring you back in a month and you can tell me what you decided, whether you want to go through with it or not. So I went home, and it had been on my mind, like, do I really want to do this? Do I want to reopen this wound that I've let healed, and that I've been okay with it. I've been functioning, but I have had doctors in the past tell me that, you know, you need to get it out of there. You know, for one, it's lead, which isn't good for the body, but also it's a foreign object. It shouldn't be there in the first place. So to consider to remove it. So I talked it over with my family, and I made the decision that I was ready to go through with it and get it gone. So February 6th, 2020 was my surgery date, and I was mortified, let me tell you, because all I could think was back to when it originally happened, like how I felt being with one eye. And then it was about, I think I went through that for about 2 weeks. I only was able to function with one eye before I could take my patch off and kind of get to start moving my eye around, and therapy and things like that. So I was like, I didn't enjoy that. It was not fun. It was very difficult to function with only one eye. So I was like, am I really going to put myself back in that spot? Like, I'm going to have to do this again. And I thought I was good with it, though. That's the crazy part. I thought I was okay with it. It had been a month, and then I knew it was February, so I had all of the rest of December, all of January, and then February, and I was okay until like 2 days before I started panicking. I was like, oh my God, what if I bleed out? What if I die? What if it goes in my brain? Like, coming up with all these scenarios. What if I have double vision? What if she nicks something? What if I can't see when I wake up? What if I don't wake up? It was a lot. I have never had a surgery, by the way, so this was my first surgical anything other than wisdom teeth. So I was definitely scared. My parents came in with me the night before, and we all prayed, and I was boohoo crying. And all I could think and remember is that God won't put nothing on you can't bear. And He's put a lot on me, more than most my age. I've been through quite the storm, but it's always come out okay, and He's always let it work out in my favor. So I just kind of went with faith. I went in the morning of, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I'm not even awake yet to be nervous, and y'all got me in here in this doctor's office. We're filling out my paperwork, signing my waiver, and we go to the back, and they're testing my vitals, and I change it to the gown. And then I think my nerves really kicked in when they brought me my medicine. And I was like, oh my God, this is about to happen. Like, you're about to put me to sleep and cut my eye open. My mom was there with me, of course. It was scary. When they gave me the medicine, I started to panic. I was like, oh my God, please don't let me be blind. And like, it started to kick in, so my body started going to sleep. I was like, please don't let me be blind. Please don't make me be blind. And like, before we even went through the door, she was like, we're all gonna be coming at you from different directions now. So when we get in there, don't be afraid. It's just everybody, you know, getting ready to prep for your surgery. And before we even got to the end of the hallway to the doors, I was asleep. I was knocked out. I was gone. And that wasn't even the anesthesia. That was just a pre-shot. So I was already out of it. But I woke up and I couldn't feel nothing. I was high as a kite. So I don't really know what that looks like. My mom recorded that, so y'all will get to see that footage, the like immediate aftermath. So we'll see what that looks like. I have no idea, but I do know that the day of, I did go live and express to everybody who watches me publicly that I thank them for their recovery prayers and pre-surgery prayers and everything. And like 3 days later, when I was able to like be a little bit awake from all the medicine, I was like, my mom was playing it for me and I was listening and watching, and I was like, whose idea was that to let me go live right after surgery, looking like I'm looking that high? And everybody in my house was like, yours. So apparently that was all my idea. And they did catch that on camera of me saying, put me on live, put my live on, press the button. So that was all me. But yeah, so I was definitely nervous. So yeah, to sum it all up, February the 7th, 2016, I was shot in my left eye. And February 6th, 2020, I got my bullet removed, and I am now in recovery, and just hoping for the best. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who has been a part of my journey, who has supported me the entire way through. It's definitely been an experience that I'll never forget, and I'm grateful for the experience. It's definitely taught me a lot, and I just can't wait to continue growing for you guys to see what happens next. So thank you.